live.
We're live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the other host, Paul. And tonight we are joined by the deviant himself, the daddy of the Discord, the pervert that goes by the name of Lee, the goodwill lover or just stalker or just basically goodwill fiend, shall we say? Hello, Lee.
Hello. I'm never getting away from this daddy thing, but I don't know where perverts come from.
I should have really had a basically a thing saying Daddy Cool or something like that coming on now.
Daddy Lee.
So how uncomfortable can we make a guest in one sitting? So yes. Today has been a little bit stressful to me. Like I say, putting together this new thing and my laptop decided it didn't want to work. So we nearly never had a podcast today. So yes.
But thank you to the computer heavens. We are here. I am in my living room because I am literally watching kittens.
Yes. So yes, and that's why Sammy's a bit grey, because she can't have the proper lighting and she's been a bit of a diva and I'm not looking pasty, I'm not looking white, I need to have a filter. She actually said, can you put a filter on me? Guys, this is the level Sammy has got to.
This is what podcasting for nearly 3 years has done to us. I saw how red I looked and I can still see it in above, but Paul I did say, can you put a filter on us?
The diva-ish behaviours afterwards. Graham last week feeding goodwill. Sammy this week wanting a filter. And poor Lee, who's just sitting there being quiet, being the daddy Discord. And everyone in the chat is just raving about how much of a daddy you are, Lee. So, yes.
Oh. Well, you'll have to keep us updated on the chat. Hello, everyone in the chat, because I can't actually see it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a really important question to ask both of you. Really important. I feel, it just feels like a lifetime ago since I asked it. I can't remember if I asked it. I did ask it last week, but
it didn't really get answered.
I never experienced it.
Go on then.
Last week was a blur. It was a blur.
It was very warm last week.
Honestly, I'm sitting in the same room we recorded, and it's no fucking different. It's no better. I am absolutely roasting. But how are you doing? And what you've been watching?
I'll let Lee go first. Let the guest be special.
I'm still stuck watching One Piece. I'm about maybe 750 episodes in now, with about
Bloody
500
hell.
or something to go. And just waiting for the live action to come out next week.
Oh yes, we've been wondering when that comes out. I think every time we ask the question, Lee pops into the chat and says, "It's the end of September." Oh,
11 days. 11 days.
Yeah, my husband's very excited about watching it because he's as you know, a big One Piece fan. So, yeah, I'll watch it with him. I'll watch it.
Yes, Beth is asking how are the kittens in the chat. They want an update on the kittens, Sammy. Get it out of the way.
The kittens are doing really well. They're settling in lovely. Binks has just grown more confident as time goes on. We've literally had them for 24 hours. And the little shit has managed to get into every little nook and cranny that is in this living room that I didn't know existed until today. Loki is a sweetheart. They're very sweet and they're fast asleep at the minute. So that's good. Oh, no, wait. Yep, they're fast asleep.
No, and asking about Lee, they're saying Lee's camera's a bit blurry. He's using the Vaseline filter from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 1. So there's nothing we can do about that.
Sorry, kids.
If anyone gets that reference, like I say, you should have watched a few episodes ago. But yes, like I say, I'm doing fine after having a nervous breakdown the other week. I'm doing okay. But yes, trying to think of what I've been watching. I've been watching that Matthew Broderick about Oxycontin on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
It is a very hard, difficult watch, but it is very well done. I'm halfway through that. The strange thing I have been watching as well, there has come out with a new season of Naked and Afraid. This time it's a competition where it's the last man standing. You get £100,000, but they're surviving in South Africa, and there's one guy who's called Jeff who's been a complete bell end. But I'm not spoilers. Everyone go and watch it. It's just naked people in the wild surviving.
Yeah. Well, that sounds a lot of fun. We started Good Omens.
Mhm.
We're only 2 episodes in. I don't feel like it's something that I want to binge watch, so I'm kind of taking my time with it. But there's one thing that I've watched that I completely forgot to tell you about, was the American Gladiators.
All right.
program.
Yes, I watched that a few weeks ago. I
fucking loved it. Like, the not one of them came across as an asshole. Not one of them. The guy who, oh god, he was an actor. I can't think of what his name is. He was very animated in it. Like, loved it. I thought he was just such a sweetheart. I really enjoyed it. Gruesome for what they put them through.
It was basically steroids and big muscly men getting thrown on concrete. No padding.
Concrete. Yeah, literal concrete. And I love the fact that they knew their worth in the end. Yeah. Like, they finally figured out their worth, and I really respected them for that. But they generally, all of them, did not have a bad word to say about any other person.
No, because they're all fucking each other. It's fine.
That's true.
You shouldn't dip your pen in the company ink. That's why me and Goodwill can never be a partner. That's why it'll always be like fondness from afar. Say that though, he probably doesn't even fancy us anymore. I know I've lost my beard, so it's fine.
You will always be on his heart necklace.
Why I'm growing mine.
to try and seduce the Goodwill because he thinks he likes the
I swear to Godly, if you get on that necklace before me, there'll be fucking hell on.
It's going to be difficult getting a necklace now, I think.
No, probably not. Probably not. But haven't watched any Greys since about a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if I've fallen off it. I'm just something I'll go back to. I'm watching Big Bang again as well.
You're just on that journey, just never stop.
It never stops, never ever stops. But that's, apart from Good Omens, that's really, and obviously the movie of today, that's all I've watched.
And just to say, this is the first time Sam has seen this absolute classic, which is a crime against humanity, shall we say.
I mean, I've committed many when it comes to pop culture, but I do feel, after speaking with my husband and speaking to one of my best friends, that maybe, yes, I have committed a bit of a pop culture crime, bigger than any other one.
Surprised Emma didn't try and jump on when she heard that we were talking about this tonight.
I'm surprised as well, because she has been telling us how much it's her husband's favourite film. So she has been telling us all about that. And Ant wants to make sure I get his gripes into this review as well.
Any gripes?
There's only one, and it's hilarious. So
I know we've talked about him a lot on this episode so far as well, and he'll probably get mentioned a lot throughout. He is kind of like the ass that gets hit a lot. I do want to give him a congratulations for last night's Trekking episode. It was an absolute masterpiece, and well done, Goodwill. And
massive.
Absolutely, like I say, you guys smashed it with the viewing figures and with everything that you've done. So well done, Goodwill. Give yourself a pat on the back, you ginger fiend.
Well done, well done, well done. It really, really makes me want to work even harder. So thank you, Michael. No, really.
He's setting the bar too high for us.
He really is. In all seriousness, last night when I joined in, I really didn't know what was being spoken about because I haven't watched it, but it didn't matter. The time that I stayed there, you could tell that was such a community gathering. It was beautiful to watch. It was lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed the time I was there. I just had to go because I had kitties running all over the place.
Hopefully we can steal a few of them as well, though. So if you're watching, we want to steal you. But yes,
we want to. Yes, and Monsters is on a Monday.
Oh, God. We know Monsters is coming. Don't worry. You can tell what our favourites.
I nearly wore my Monsters t-shirt today just to make sure I was like, but no one's going to be able to see it.
You know what? I'm not watching tomorrow out of principle. I only watch it for Dan anyway.
So better fucking watch. It does fit in lovely with this week's theme, though.
Yes, so like I say, normally it didn't. Like I say, we didn't actually plan it. It was quite funny. Really? So if you want to get the disclaimer out the way, Sammy.
Ooh, I can do that.
Yes.
So Everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group or the comment section. Oh my God, I'm totally forgetting it. Please in the comment section. We can all agree to disagree. No, what we won't have, sorry. Oh my God. What we won't have is
what we have here is failure to launch.
Are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom, so let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism. Just to say, the reason I stopped myself is because I remembered last week I missed a massive chunk out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying in my head, don't miss it out again, don't miss it out. And then I was like, oh, I forget what comes next. But I feel like I got the main point out the way with.
That's fine. You can tell she's used to doing pre-recorded stuff now. Now this live stuff is here. So it's like falling apart. Can't say, Paul, cut this bit out now. Add this bit here.
If you noticed last week on the Tom Savini episode, when Dan says, and now time for the video, you will watch my arse drop because I didn't know we were going to do that. And I was like, oh my God, I've not pre-warned Paul. Oh my God, what do I do? But it turned out fine. It turned out great. It was such a good episode, such a good edit. Thank you very much.
But yes, it's fine. It's fine. Like I say, Paul saves the day once again. But yes.
Once again, I'll save you.
So yes, so today's episode is about the masterpiece, the 86 cult classic, because it did bomb when it first came out. Big Trouble in Little China, by, like say, the master of his craft, John Carpenter, who did Halloween, he did The Thing, he did the like a lot of other things. Yeah, They Live as well with Roddy Piper.
John Carpenter's Vampires, which is still one of the greatest vampire movies ever made.
Yes.
Fight me.
And luckily for you, lovely fellow people who watch us week in, week out, day in, day out, you're getting the Kurt Russell double bill, the sexiest man from any era, and the first ever Santa Claus that actually did turn me as well. So, and Lee's thinking about dyeing his beard blonde. But yes, Big Trouble in Little China. So, did you like the movie?
Yes.
That was hesitant.
It's an amazing movie, but it's just so weird.
Mm-hmm. It's not a right movie. Like, see, you couldn't make this movie today. Put it this way.
Well, yeah. I know we don't deal in factoids on a Sunday night, but I did go and have a look at a few things, and I found an article from the 6th of January 2023 where James Wan and Patrick Wilson want to remake Big Trouble in Little China.
No.
So
it's been rumoured for years. Like, there was a rumour a few years ago that The Rock was going to be playing the Jack Burton role.
Wow.
That was one of the things. There's meant to be sequels that was coming about. I think this is one of those ones that doesn't need special effects. You wouldn't gain anything. All the practical stuff that is there, and it was done at the time, like I say, the 1980s, where they were making these risks, making these movies, and there has been a few copycats down the years. Like say Eddie Murphy's Golden Child is a prime example of this. But as a whole, it's just a fun fucking movie. From start to finish is just entertaining. Like, you watch it, your eyes don't leave the telly.
It really is, because it's not the beginning part of it. Is not what you think is going to happen next. No. If that makes sense. So at the beginning, you've got Jack, Kurt Russell, and his partner, and it's a card game.
No, it's dominoes. They were playing dominoes.
Dominoes. Yeah. Was it dominoes?
Yeah.
But they were sitting playing a game, and you genuinely don't believe your eyes as to what you are about to witness next. Because that's how I felt when I was watching it today. This is the first time I've ever seen it. Well, it's not for any other reason, for the fact that I don't know. It never crossed my radar.
Yeah, because I think the starting said you get Egg standing in the lawyer's office or the DA's office, and they're talking about like what's happened.
Yes, and we want to know what happened, and he does the whole lightning thing, which is fine. But when you finally get to meet Jack, which by the way, I love the fucking fact that he talks in the third person. I want to be able to do that.
Are you going to call yourself Sam Burton now?
Sam Burton. Well, I remember good old Sam Burton said. I don't think that's what he says.
No.
But no, I thoroughly enjoyed where my eyes were taken to today.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, like it's an amazing film, but like I said, it's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single scene on its own looks cool, and it's like, oh wow, this is brilliant. Oh, what's happening here? But then it goes to the next scene, and it's like, how did we get here? Like,
Yes.
where the hell did that come from?
Makes
There's no explanation for this.
Makes no sense. There's a lot of random
this, like,
shit.
Monster comes out the basement, or like some giant insect eats a man, and it's like, there was no mention of this earlier on.
It's just ancient
cowboys and wizards, but then this showed up.
The best part about it is the non-explanation towards it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a monster in the cupboard. Who gives a shit? Like, I love the fact that there's no explanation.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know they were there. They didn't know they were there, but they were there. Like, I love that.
I think they did, because I think when it was, I'm going to say it, I'm trying to get the right pronunciation. Wang's father in the shop says, "China is here," and they were like saying, "What do you mean?" And it's like kind of like ancient China is here in Lo Pan, and the demons and the peas and the demons and stuff like that.
Right.
And like I say, when it was Little China in California, isn't it? Like I say, I'm trying to get the bearings here. I think it was based in California. Some American town where Jack Burton and the Pork Chop Express. Can I just say how fucking amazing? If I ever have a truck or any type of vehicle, I want to call it the Pork Chop Express.
Do you want to haul in the ass on the front that he's got?
I'll just call me car it. Let's just call me car. Once it's fixed, let's just call me car that.
Yeah, we'll call it the Piglet at the moment because it doesn't really do its job. So.
Yes,
let's not talk about cars.
Oh, actually,
Don't
have you any problems with your cars lately, Lee?
Actually, my gran rang the other day to say that there was oil on our driveway after I'd been parked there.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Got an oil
I
leak.
thought my car situation was bad.
So you're gonna, you're getting abuse in the chat already, both of yous now. For your cars.
Oh, time to go and fix the car.
Yeah, fix your car.
Fix me car. Fix your car.
As I alluded to before, like say, Kurt Russell is just like whatever role he plays, he's just like sex appeal. Either if it's like with Goldie Hawn on Overboard, if he's playing a pirate in Captain Ron, Santa Claus, he just oozes like say charm and class, and there's something about him. And him and Bruce Willis in the 80s basically outsold everyone for vest tops going, because even like me watching the back, I think I can pull off a vest top. Looking at myself now, I cannot pull off a vest top, but I want to just by looking at how good Jack Burton looks like in that vest top in this movie.
He looks so good, and I'm sure. I don't know why I've got this stuck in my head, and I was trying to explain it to Emma, and it just was not coming out. In Overboard, I'm sure he does Jack's voice at some point. Like that character, I'm sure at some point he does that voice, because that voice is very distinct for Kurt Russell.
I think it was, I don't know if it was the Jack Burton voice, but it was definitely the guy that goes into the whorehouse and he goes, yes. I'm sure he's done that because when he went to the doctors to pick up Goldie Hawn. I think it was the same type of performance. But
I just feel like I've heard that before.
Possibly. But and just the sheer premise of this movie, like story-wise, it is absolutely bonkers. It's literally basically they stumble on some kind of ancient Chinese war between gangs that's been going on. There's a guy that's not alive that's been cursed by two demons that he's got to appease. And basically there's two girls with green eyes, one Chinese, which the word Chinese was very, very hard to make out, shall we say.
Yes.
And then Kim Cattrall, who was absolutely banging. That was a performance after Porky's, I think.
Yeah, she's. Do you know what, Kim Cattrall? I think doesn't get the credit she deserves when it comes to her acting, because we all know her as Samantha Jones in Sex and the City, and everyone will always look at that performance. And by the way, she is fucking phenomenal. She is the best thing in there, the best written character, the best performing character. But fuck me, she was so fucking good in this. She played that part with total ease that it just felt like completely and utterly effortless. But there is one question I have to ask. The prophecy is that he has to have a Chinese girl with green eyes.
No, it wasn't Chinese, just a girl with green eyes.
So it was just a girl, because me and Ant were having this conversation on the way home. And I said, I can't remember them ever saying Chinese.
No.
But if that's it, right, okay. That clears that up then.
Yeah, I'm sure I could be wrong. Like, say if someone wants to Google, but that's the premise was, because it would be a kind of racist even back then if like for Chinese, like said it can't choose a single woman, it has to be a Chinese woman. That's a bit harsh. It's like,
yeah,
it's like
it was fantastic
but
for
it's
how little
Chinese.
she had to work with as well.
yes,
Like TV, like movie tropes from the 80s, like any woman that shows up that's the love interest has no backstory whatsoever. They go, oh, she's a lawyer. That is it. That's all she had to work with.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
I
And
don't know
guess
why
what?
they didn't write women.
but like, everything about this was entertaining as well, and even though she did resort to like say the damsel in distress type character as well, but she held her own with up against like say Kurt Russell and didn't give him an easy ride as well. But I loved all the characters in this as well. Like Wang was like played off that whole thing at the start when he's I'm going to cut the bottle in half. I truly wanted him to see him cut a bottle in half. I wish they did a playback like at the end and say, "Look, Jack," and done that in the restaurant. That would have been the ultimate like ending for me if he just proved he could do it. But
I want to see how the stakes got that high in a game of dominoes, up to $1,000. That's some extreme dominoes.
you've got to go to the dock. You've got to go to the dockland and play with them crazy people down there.
Yeah, they take it deadly serious. But isn't that like totally foreshadowing the end of the movie? Because of his reflexes.
Yeah. Well, that's all that. Like, say, everything's foreshadowed. Like there was.
That's the only one I picked up on.
like literally everything about it. Like, but I think that's why it works so well. It doesn't try and be too clever. It just tries to be out there and go, right, what can we do? That's just absolutely nuts. Like, I love the bad guys in this, and normally, like in these type of movies, the bad guys can be quite dull and uninspiring. But Lo Pan, the guy who plays like was in Wayne's World 2 as well.
Yes, he's the dad. Isn't he in Big Bang Theory as well?
Yeah, he plays the guy who Howard has an argument with about the or Sheldon has an argument with over the tangerine chicken or something like that.
That's it, yeah. He's 95 years old. He's still alive. And on his family actually did a fundraiser because you've got to pay for a Hollywood star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And his family did a fundraiser, and as of last year, he got for his 95th birthday present, his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Isn't that fucking special that he actually got to see that happen? I love that.
But the gods in this as well, wasn't it? Thunder, lightning and rain.
Lightning and rain.
Like, I'm sure this is where Mortal Kombat stole like the
Yeah,
idea of raining down from.
It is. Yeah, I read all about it. It's not stealing; it's paying homage in their eyes.
Is that why you don't pay the royalties for them? Yes.
That's right. If you're paying homage, you don't have to pay no royalties.
I'm pretty sure they are pretty much playing Mortal Kombat at one point where they do the thing with the beams of light.
Yes.
And Lo Pan's got his fingers and he's going as if he's playing with his PlayStation controller.
Yes.
There is some phenomenal fight scenes in this, mind, and I love because my granddad used to watch a lot of martial art movies, and I always used to find it hilarious when they do all these fancy moves, but nothing happens. They're not really touching anyone. They're just like moving all over the place, and then that's it. Like nothing. I love that aspect of kung fu movies. I think they're great.
And I love like how Jack Burton, as the big American burly dude, is the joke in this as well. Like every time he comes up to a situation where he's in a fight, things always go wrong for him. Like for example, when Wang's fighting all the people in the warehouse and he's trying to get the knife out and he throws it and it goes halfway along the in the warehouse, so he chases after it. And by the time he actually gets the knife back, Wang's beating them all up, and he's just like, ha! And then when the big statue monster thing starts fighting him, and he's kind of rolls over on the floor, and his knife gets stuck, so he pushes it through, and he stabs the guy through the heart using his foot. And then the guy falls over him, and he's just like rolling about on the floor, stuck underneath this big, muscly, burly dude. And I just found that absolutely hilarious, and like how confident and egotistical Jack was. He was absolutely useless when it came to a fight.
Yes. He didn't have an absolute clue, did he? His friend did all the fighting for him, but he did have some corker lines, and the dialogue for Kurt Russell's character alone was some of the best dialogue I've ever heard.
We really shut the pillars of hell, didn't we, Jack?
It's the last bit when he's just leaving on his truck, and I'm like, oh, that is so cool. I know Kurt Russell. I know, like, I fucking love him.
Your best mate, Kurt.
I know Kurt. But I read, that he really was hesitant about doing this movie because the thing flopped so badly. Which, if you listen to tomorrow's episode, you'll find out as to why. But he was very hesitant, and then just remembered, he was like, do you know what? Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Like, why am I thinking along these lines when I had so much fun on the last movie? So, yeah, he was a bit hesitant to start with, and then remembered that, you got to have fun sometimes.
Exactly. So, Lee, what are your standout moments for Big Trouble in Little China? What kind of things that, like, stand out in your mind?
Probably just the crazy action scenes, like I think they used trampolines for that the flying fight where they're in the air doing
that. Made no sense at all. They just kept on jumping across the room at each other then.
And yeah, just how much Kurt Russell jabbers on. Like, he's just such a witty, big-mouthed idiot.
So you're saying he reminds you of me, then, you bastard? Well, yeah.
No.
Oh, that was quite good. That's what putting us down. But yeah. And that's going to sound the thing that always stands in my head, and it's one of the grossest things in the movie. I don't know why. It always, like, even since a kid, I always remember it. When the guy bites the head off the fish and hands it to him, like, it's like
horrible.
It's just the weirdest interaction. It's like, why would that be okay? Like, even in the most unpolite society, why it's like, I'm going to bite the head off this fish. Do you want to bite? It's like,
that is not okay. That really freaked us out, but also it reminded us of Trading Places when Dan Aykroyd is eating the fucking salmon through his Santa beard, and I'm like, why do people do disgusting things with fishes? Like, no.
So I think it's really sad that they could possibly be going into the last moment of their life fighting some Chinese emperor god. And his last meal is a fish he found on the floor in a room. And he has no idea how long it's been there for.
This is fish. I'll chew its head off. Yes, this is how we roll.
Crazy.
But yes, but even, like, say, certain, like, the action scenes, when I was a kid, I remember seeing nothing like it before. I wasn't big into the martial arts film, so seeing this was like kind of like my gateway. After this, I went and looked into, like, films like with Bruce Lee and like Jean-Claude Van Damme. I think I watched No Retreat, No Surrender after watching, watching Big Trouble in Little China. But this, it's a strange one because it's a John Carpenter movie. But would you class this as a kids movie?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing untoward like that I would stop it. I know. Yeah, I would class it as a kids movie.
Yeah,
I don't have children, so no. I don't.
I think there's only one bit of blood, I think, in the whole.
Yeah,
film, which is where he stabs her with the
needle, and
like even that crazy fight in the alley at the beginning, where there's like a guy with a Tommy gun and like the cowboy guy shooting everywhere, and it's like it's hitting the coffin, it's hitting the signs above. The truck doesn't get hit once, even though it's blocking the whole alley. I think the only bad thing that happens to anyone is one guy gets his arm snapped the wrong way.
Yeah.
And Al Young, I don't know how you pronounce his name, the greatest henchman that ever lived. You know, the guy with the beard.
Oh, yes.
The first one that we see.
Oh, yeah.
Even he like slashes somebody up the face with a knife or something like and there's not a drop of blood comes out.
No, but that's probably
It's
how
a
they
very
got.
family-friendly film.
It's how they got rid through the censors, because I think that's how like the Dark Knight, not the Dark Knight Returns, the Dark Knight with the Joker in, and that's how it got its rating. It was because there's like, if you watch through the movie, there's not one single drop of blood in it. Like even like the pencil scene and like certain like gunshots and stuff. But that's how violent and the tone it was. It got its PG rating because there was no blood in it. But with this one, it reminds me of Bank Holiday Mondays, up on the Bank Holiday weekends or Easter weekends, because these type of movies used to always be on like on a Sunday or on a Bank Holiday. You used to get Big Trouble in Little China. You used to get The Goonies. You used to get E.T. Like it used to be like staples around like the Watson household. When my parents didn't want to look after us, used to stick us in front of a TV to watch these type of movies. But this is the type of
fucking loved it.
This is the type of stuff I kind of grew up on and like couldn't not like indulge. But it's a shame we don't get these type of movies anymore as well, because I don't think anyone's looking to make these type of risks. Because
they're not going to. They're not going to put all the money that they do into movies these days into doing something that is just totally. Let's be honest, it's completely fucking out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really out there that no one's going to touch anything. Probably now, because it's such a cult classic, that people will be like, oh yeah, we could redo this again because we know that there's a following there.
Yeah.
But if it didn't have that cult classic status, no one's going to make something like this again.
So, because I know you see you do like a bit of your factoids and stuff, and you do your research and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who wrote this? Like, did you look in, or am I putting you on the spot there? Sorry.
You are definitely putting me on the spot because I can't get to my phone to check.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, I didn't check who wrote it actually. I was just, when I don't know if anyone else does this, but when I've watched a new film, I always go straight, regardless if I'm doing monsters or not. I always go straight to IMDb and go to the trivia page.
I've just read something there just because I was interested, because as you said, this is batshit crazy and this is going to make it sound even worse now. So it was a screenplay wrote by someone called Gary Goldman and David Z. Weinstein. And the premise of this, now get this, it was envisioned as a Western set in 1880s.
What?
So that was the big premise initially for Big Trouble in Little China. That's the screenplay that it was based on.
You could not get any further from that actual description right there. It's a martial arts, like almost homage to kung fu movies.
100%, yeah.
Definitely not a Western. Like you going, the only spaghetti Western I get is the standoff bits, where you've got one person on one side, one on the other. But that no.
I'm going to throw some facts at you now, because I know you're the fact queen now. So let's have a little quiz, see who can get the closest between Sammy and Lee. So don't look at anything online.
I can't.
What do you think the movie's budget was?
Oh, okay. So you got to take into the fact that the thing bombed. And that would have been a contributing factor money-wise. I don't know. I'm not good with money.
Lee, do you want to have a guess?
Yeah, I'll just say 5 million.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be too high of a budget.
No, I think probably a bit lower than that. I'm gonna say about 2.5, 3.
25 million.
25. Well, we were fucking well off.
And do you know how much it grossed?
Oh well, no, about 19, 20.
11.
Wow.
This was a massive bomb when it came out, like I say, initially.
Wow.
So this was deemed, like, at this point, I think, with like the Thing bombing, like the only real hit that John Carpenter had at this point was Halloween. And
yeah, I mean, there is a reason why the Thing bombed as hard as what it did, is because of timing. And the timing of, say, I'm giving away all the tomorrow's bits and pieces, but it plays a bit of a part. When the Thing came out, it went up against Blade Runner,
Mm-hmm.
who then went up against E.T.
Mm-hmm.
It was never going to fucking win. In the grand scheme of things, it was never going to win because E.T. just totally fucking dominated. Nobody is going to see a John Carpenter movie over a Steven Spielberg one.
True.
Not like, obviously not us,
Yeah.
but the general public will go to the soft and happy place and not where they think they're going with John Carpenter.
Just think of the time of being alive, though, around about this. Like
Oh.
I know I harp on about the 80s being the greatest time for movies, but think about it. In the 10 years that we got, like, say, as you've mentioned, E.T.,
yeah,
Blade Runner,
yeah,
The Thing,
yeah,
The Evil Dead,
yeah,
Big Trouble in Little China, The Goonies, Stand By Me. Was Stand By Me 80s or was it 90s? I think
it feels like 80s.
It feels like
80s, but that could just be because of how it was filmed.
Well, I'll go with a different one. The Lost Boys. Like, if you think of like all these different type of genres of movies as well. Like, I know. Again, I always feel like I'm on a soapbox when I do talk about like this as well. It irritates us a lot because, as you said, I know inflation and everything goes up and like say thing, but making Big Trouble in Little China with 25 million, and now you're making movies that, like, as for example, The Flash, like the amount of money now they've said that The Flash has made is the biggest superhero movie that's been a loss because it made 225 million, but it cost over like 500 million to make.
Jesus.
So it's go back to giving independent or writers stories where they're not looking to make a franchise where they, as you said, they can have a bit of fun. They're not treating audiences like they're stupid. They can just go in and just say, right, let's have fun, let's tell a story. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter if as long as it's entertaining.
Yeah, like allow writers to be writers. Like allow them to have some like expression to where it doesn't have to be like, well, how can we market this later on? Look at what Marvel's done. How do we do that? Who gives a fuck? Like, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, given like I am a Marvel fan, and for the first, like the first 10 years of Marvel, I was well into it and loved what they created. But it's put such a stop on people writing just fun movies. Nothing has to be taken seriously. There doesn't have to be an end credit scene to where, oh my god, it could lead into something else. Look at the end of this movie. Look at it. We got a fucking cliffhanger without actually knowing we had a cliffhanger.
It was a good cliffhanger as well, because I still want to know what the fuck that monster was. You never get told what that monster was. It was just a lumpy, hairy beast.
It's just a hairy predator, isn't it?
It looked like
Predator shagged
Fluffy's
Bigfoot.
cousin. You know, Fluffy from Creepshow. It looked like Fluffy's cousin.
So who did
I'm surprised I didn't have a look at that.
Who done the FX for this? I don't have that information.
God.
Anyone in the chat could tell.
We don't do facts on this show.
Anyone in the chat wants to help us out with that one, because I don't know, because it feels very Jim Henson, but also Tom Savini type feel as well. So
it does, because that does look a lot like Fluffy. Like it's not like, I'm not saying like it's a homage to Fluffy. I think this whole movie it's paid homage and then it's passed on homage too. So because I know Creepshow comes out later on after this, I'm sure of it. Well, you'll find out in Tom Savini Part 2. But I just think it'd be nice if we could have movies that are not taken too seriously and there's no thought of like franchise behind it or continuity, just something fun, something relaxing.
Because you know what scares me, and again, this is genuine, and like I say, I know, like I said, we do a podcast and we've talked about like movies in general. I don't think people realise how much I love going to the cinema. Like, anyone who goes to the cinema with me will experience not just the film, but will experience me experiencing the film. But
I've experienced that experience of you experiencing a movie at a cinema.
Yes.
I've been there. It was one of the most heartwarming things I've ever watched a fully grown adult man do.
There's something pure and like innocence about the cinema. Like, so you can go there with all your worries and it's just you can forget them for that time. But in the world we live today, with the cost of everything, they are cinemas closing down. Like Sunderland now doesn't have its own cinema in a town centre.
Our city centre.
Mm-hmm.
We are a city.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have one. Well, we do, but you got to fucking travel for it.
Yeah.
And you got to travel far for it, and then you got to pay a shitload of money for it.
Mm-hmm.
That cinema I went to at the beginning of the year to see Scream 6, and I paid less money there than I have ever done in any of the big franchises.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sad that it's gone. It's awful that we don't have a cinema anymore.
And
God
now,
damn you.
News is that Cineworld is in trouble.
Cineworld's been in trouble for years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a franchise that someone would think something that someone would buy out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would let that one go. But if they did, it really is the end of cinema in our neck of the Northeast.
Mm-hmm. So that would be, if Cineworld goes, that means that we would only have the Odeon at the Metro Centre.
Yeah, and that is a trek. Like, I know the Northeast seems small, but we're not. Mm-hmm. So that is a bit of a trek, and it is very expensive, and it has one of the most convoluted fucking lines for food I have ever come across.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it would literally rip out cinema for our neck of the Northeast.
I'm just laughing as well. Sorry, not at the point you're making. Chris has actually done some research and said that the monster that we were talking about was a character based on urine, a creature from Chinese folklore said to be an ape-like being inhabiting the monstrous religion of Western Hubei, I'll try and say it, covered in reddish hair. So basically a ginger. So Goodwill is the monster from Big Trouble in Little China.
Did Chris say that, or are you just
I'm just ad-libbing the next bit as well. So,
well, thanks, Chris. I could do with your help with research when I'm doing monsters, because that was brilliant. Thank you.
Chris, if she asks you to do research on monsters, say payment up front, please.
I will pay you in bags of party rings. I feel that is a fair trade.
So yes.
Just
but coming back to Big Trouble in Little China as well.
Back to the movie.
So with you watching for the first time and like experiencing it like with brand new eyes and not going in with any expectations or like just knowing that it's a masterpiece of cinema, how did you find it going in? Just was it, as you said, was it just an experience, a roller coaster, or were you sitting there pointing at Ant going, "What the fuck's happening now?"
I actually watched it on my own. Ant was at work. I messaged him just before it started and said, "I'm just about to watch Big Trouble in Little China," and he rang us on his break and he went, "I love it. It's one of the best, but it does really annoy us at the end." Now, Anthony's a stickler for Asian history.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely adores it. He appreciates it. And he did not appreciate the end scene with this ancient temple that had fluorescent tube lighting. That's the one gripe that he had. He says, "I don't know why. I've felt like this since I was a kid. I can't get my head around." And when he pointed it out, it was like, it was an eyesore for us, but it definitely didn't take away my experience. I thought this was an absolute thrill.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Kurt Russell was phenomenal. Kim Cattrall was stunning, but what really caught my eye was the cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
How when we're in that temple, it's so bright, it's so illuminated. Like, yes, it's got fluorescent lights in there, but I didn't give a shit. I wasn't looking at like, oh yeah, this is meant to be an ancient temple. I'm like, fuck yeah, something's gonna go down in here. Like,
when did they have an escalator fitted?
Yes,
he's got an escalator.
Yes, Lee, well spotted there. So modern technology, yes. So Ant's annoyed there about flesh and lighting. Like, say, you can forgive having electricity and putting some lighting, but fitting an escalator, that's got to be some work to put in. They've got to have like an actual workforce come in, or did the army do it for them? We do not know. Or did the demons come in and do a deal?
They might have. What was that big head, by the way, that he shot at? You know, the one that came in and talked for the big master guy. Like, what the fuck was that?
I think it was a send up to Flash Gordon or something like that.
Looks like a beholder. I don't know if you've played D&D or know what a beholder is, but it's just one of them.
Right.
Pretty much.
It looked like a flying testicle, so yeah.
It looked so bizarre, and I love the fact that he shot it and just went, well, I needed to try. Like, I love that. But what I also loved was the costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the costume design was absolutely superb. I loved the scene with Kim Cattrall and the other lady when he did that I don't know, like a trance on them and their eyes turned white.
She was called Susie Pye. Susie Pye, sorry.
Susie Pye. And when the eyes went white, and their white eyes against the big blush and red lipstick and the eyeshadow, oh my God, did that look fucking beautiful. It was so striking.
It was, but again, I didn't understand how that happened just because the electricity guy went, and then
I have electrocuted your eyes.
People hypnotized, but didn't even electrocute them, he electrocuted the ceiling. So it was like,
to electrocute your eyes. Make it make sense.
But yes.
That's what this film was all about, was, let's make it make sense.
Kim Cattrall's come out of this trance early. Don't know why. Maybe Western women could come out of the trance earlier, and don't know.
Maybe she was stronger-willed.
Stronger-willed
because she's a lawyer.
Grace Law. Yeah. Oh, stop bringing in Judge Dredd in this now. But yeah.
Something I've always wondered about this is when did Lo Pan start getting called Dave or David? Is this 2,000-year-old Chinese god?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Lo Pan strikes the fear, his name strikes fear into the heart of men.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dave.
But you've got to normalize yourself to get in the business thing, but yeah.
Paul,
the first person that went, oh, that's a bit of a mouthful. Can I call you Dave instead? That guy died.
He died straight away, and it just stuck. Paul, if you can, take my filter off, please. I am literally disappearing.
You're going black now, yes.
I am like a head. You can take my filter off if you can.
How's your head, Sammy?
I've had no complaints.
Right.
Did anyone actually hear us say that? Because I felt like I said it far too fast.
There you go.
Oh, there I am. Hi. See, this is why I wanted to filter for us, because my face looked really, really red, and there's absolutely no reason for it. But I'm going to have to accept it, otherwise I'm going to disappear into the abyss. Thank you. But
yes, I like that idea though. Find the most inoffensive name, Dave. Sorry, David Hope. I know you're in the chat.
Hi, Dave.
Are you really low? Are you low hope, Dave? Is that the secret thing now? I'm going to call him Low.
Is that what I called him? They named after Dave Hope. Oh, that's amazing.
Low Pan. But yes.
Low Pan, who, by the way, when he's in Low Pan outfit, what I thought was fucking spectacular. That is an iconic look, by the way. Because when you think of Big Trouble in Little China, that is the first thing I can pick out on the poster is him.
Funny thing about again, I've got one gripe with this movie, and it, like I said, again, it's a little one. When we first see Lo Pan, and it's amazing, and he's standing in front of the truck, and Jack runs him over. He doesn't run through the truck, he runs him down. He gets knocked over, you see him hit the floor, and you think, all right. But then, later in the movie, it says he cannot touch anything anymore. He cannot touch human, he cannot, feel. That's why he wants to kill the green-eyed girl. So how the fuck did he get run over? Why did he not? Did they run out of special effect budget for that part?
Potentially. I mean, when he gets knocked over, he doesn't exactly get knocked over. He looks like he just literally gets under the car, and then he's out at the back. Again.
That's still getting knocked over.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just thinking, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There must be
maybe it's just one
amounts...
of those things where you're not meant to think of.
But you hear a sound.
There must be
There's a
certain
sound
of power he can use at times, because he picks up that needle as well to get the blood.
Right.
At the end, so he shouldn't be able to pick that up either.
Yeah. So there is
some plot holes.
So we need to find out the whole deal with Dave and see what's going on with him. And
right. Let's just get John Carpenter on the phone.
What
so we
can
can
he touch? What can he feel? Why does he have to get greedy and decide he wanted two? Because I know he was going to sacrifice one and keep one. Which again,
just to spare, just in case.
So who's the powerful one? Who's just the one that? Oh, sorry, you're just a tag along for this adventure.
Imagine you're like, you've been chosen. You're going to be sacrificed. You are the chosen one. But I kind of have a spare over there. So you don't feel as special anymore.
No. My question as well, well, not a question, I've got a pervy fact for you, because I know everyone likes a pervy fact. Similar to like other movies when it came out in Blu-ray, we found out, because before that, DVD you could go through a few frames, but in Blu-ray you could go through frame by frame and see certain things. As we found out with Roger Rabbit, that Jessica doesn't flash a minge. That's fake news. The rescuers, there was a naked person in the window in one of the things. In Star Wars, one of the dancers in Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi, when he pulls a chain, a top comes out and the boobs pop out. So that's one of the things you can see. There was green boobs in the Return of the Jedi. So and when Han checks on Princess Leia, he grabs both boobs. It's fully, you can see it. In Big Trouble in Little China, there is a scene, and it is quite a pause scene, when they're jumping into the water and the women are going under the pipe stein. There is a woman with a white shirt, and she is wearing nothing underneath. You get full bush.
I thought she had no pants on.
Yes, you see full bush. If you pause it right.
Well, that was the trend at the time. I didn't even notice.
How are you going to go back and try and see?
Anthony, guess what we're doing? Do you want to know a really weird fact that is actually, for people who are not going to watch Monsters tomorrow, about Kurt Russell? Walt Disney, the guy Walt Disney, his last words on this earth were Kurt Russell.
All right. Was it while Kurt Russell was strangling him, or?
No one knows why. No one knows how. But his last words were Kurt Russell.
Okay.
So if you're not going to watch Monsters tomorrow, there's one little factoid for you.
Kurt Russell.
He also filmed a film with Elvis as well.
All right. I have heard. Have you seen the announcement this week about Kurt Russell?
No.
Oh, there is a TV show coming out. I don't know. I think it's Apple. I might be wrong, but the new Godzilla TV show, Monarch, where it's going to be about Godzilla, but it's about like the people on Monarch. Him and his son are playing the same character. So Wyatt's going to be going, like when they're going back in the past, he's playing young Kurt, and when in the present, Kurt Russell will be playing the character now.
That is so cool, because I actually think they have such a. I mean, obviously that it's father and son, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes it does. And when it does, it's like O'Shea Jackson Jr. playing his dad in Straight Outta Compton. That works, but for some people it doesn't. I like that idea. I heard there was going to be something Godzilla-y coming out soon, but I didn't realize it was a TV show.
There's quite a few. There's going to be an Asian Godzilla movie that's like doing high special effects. It's basically Godzilla attacking Tokyo again, as he always does.
Damn you, Godzilla!
But it looks quite violent and quite nasty. But the TV show is not going to be just purely on Godzilla. It's going to be on Monarch, about like the backstory on how they formed, how they go about like their business and stuff like that. So quite work. I hope it's still going to be in the same monster universe as we had like Kong versus Godzilla and stuff. And there is rumours there's going to be a sequel to that. But how can you follow one of the dullest battles known to man?
Oh hell, I liked it.
It was shite.
We didn't have a lot. We were in lockdown. We didn't have a lot to go for, so I took everything. I even like the Mortal Kombat movie.
The Mortal Kombat movie. Don't even dare start. Jake will jump on now and start.
Amazing.
Yeah, when they've done the
sweep the leg amazing movie.
Yes.
I love how you like Jake will jump on.
Jake will jump on now and just tell you, Sammy, you're sacked. But yes.
But I don't know how I feel about a Godzilla movie where it's just about them. Because the Bryan Cranston one, all the way through, I was just, "Where's Godzilla? Where is he? Who are these humans?"
But that's the thing, because it's
not going to giving us a story.
Because it's not titled Godzilla this time. It's going to be Monarch. So it's like that premise is not there, that you're not expecting Godzilla. If they change the name to like the Godzilla one as being Bryan Cranston dies and his son becomes really annoying, then yes, I would get that. But
how much was it disappointing for everyone when the whole of the trailers were like, Bryan Cranston, Godzilla, this is gonna be fucking amazing. It's just coming off the back of Breaking Bad. Oh, he dies within 5 minutes. Oh, but that's not what you promised, is it?
No. But yes, but coming back to Godzilla, like the tangents are flowing out. Oh, Godzilla, sorry, a Big Trouble in Little China.
Remember what the podcast is?
It's been a day. Let's say that way. It's been a day. There's no kings in this house, yes. So coming back to what you mentioned as well, like the costumes and like the set designs and like the physical look of this was brilliant. And going back to the three gods like rain, thunder, and lightning, like their aesthetic was amazing. They set a precedent from the start, but when you saw them out of the outfits as well, they looked like even scarier in a way because they looked like slick businessmen. And their deaths were brilliant though. Like each one of them had glorious deaths in this movie.
What were the weapons they had though?
Yes.
Like one guy had 2 back scratchers, and the other guy had like spinning forks on his hands going.
But did you see where they were spinning? It was supposed to be looked like it was stuck to his hand, but you could actually see the rings that was around his fingers where you saw it was connected. I was like, oh, someone didn't think about that too much there.
It's like this guy shoots lightning from his eyes, but he's got a back scratcher. Yeah, I'll get that good spot.
Would you have fucked with him with the back scratcher?
Absolutely not.
It would have took your eyes out. That's the thing. That's the Goodwill style of fighting. Just But yeah, I loved their deaths in this. Like the sword fight with Wang was just absolutely ludicrous, where they were just jumping from one side of the room to the other, just like randomly slashing at each other. And we haven't even mentioned Egg's potion. Like that made them feel good and feel invincible. Like what kind of shit was he giving them?
Oh yeah, that was drugs or alcohol or something along them lines.
That was definitely drugs. I'm sorry.
Are we saying drugs are bad or drugs are good? Okay.
Okay. That was definitely some class A hard drug.
Yes,
I've got a kitty up.
The kitties woke up there. But yeah, but the guy who played Thunder, I think he had a poor way out where basically he saw Lopan had died and he decided that he was going to blow himself up. Like for no apparent reason, he just went start breathing in, and then you saw like some of the best puppeteering work I've ever seen, where his like face was blown up, his eyes were blown up. It was like, oh shit! And even though he blew up, you didn't see any blood. You just saw body parts sprawling across the floor, which was entertaining as fuck. And then the lightning dude got a fucking giant statue tossed off his head.
Which made him explode into a ball of fire for some reason.
Because every bad guy explodes when you drop things on him. That's how the world works.
Exactly. Like, do you not watch movies? What was I going to say? Lopan's death, though, the knife through the head.
Yes, it's all in the reflexes.
I love the fact that he looks shocked that it actually worked. He actually does it and then goes, oh shit, that actually worked.
Well, it's nice when Lopan does like a smarmy little goodbye, Mr. Burton, and then throws the knife and he catches it and throws it back. But before that, is just some weirdness from Jack. Like he kisses, like say Kim Cattrall's character. They finally admit that the sexual tension is too much to give in, but then she decides to clean the lipstick off him because she thought the lipstick looked ridiculous. But
but it happened anyway.
Yeah, but he had the lipstick on his teeth. Like
yes,
how was she fucking kissing him to get lipstick on his teeth?
She might have had a lot of lipstick on. It was the 80s. It was very glossy. It wasn't like matte what we get today.
Did he fucking eat her face? Is that how you kiss women these days? Or am I doing it wrong?
Well, this is Kurt Russell, so are you going to question Kurt Russell's
abilities? I was going to say, anyone in the chat who knows me, can you debate whether I kiss wrong? Here's
Good
where
will can answer that.
Here's where Emma jumps up and goes, "Yes, you were wrong," and Paul. Sorry.
The end bit where with Kim Cattrall, where a friend turns around and goes, "You're not even going to kiss her goodbye?" No.
That's why I think this was the most anti-Hollywood movie that has ever been, because like I said, that would have been the Hollywood ending where he kisses the girl. And even then,
he gets the girl, kisses her, it's all over.
And then makes the excuses saying, "Oh, like I fancy making a home for each other and stuff like that." And he's like making an excuse, "No, I'll irritate you and you'll end up getting annoyed with us." So he's even making excuses for it now. Goodwill's telling us off, saying, "I'm a good kisser." Though. Thanks, Goodwill. The love affair still there.
The woman who plays our friend is Ellis Gray in Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, so there's your Lincoln.
It took me ages. Do you know when you're sitting looking at someone going, "Who are you?"
I do that to Lee every day.
But yes, it's Ellis Gray out of Grey's Anatomy. And she was fun. I liked her. She played the bumbling sidekick friend very well. So
the question is now, if you were going to make a sequel to Big Trouble in Little China, like not talking about now, because now I think it's been too long. How would if you were back then and say if it was successful, how would you have done a sequel to this? You would have had would you do the same type of theme, or would you have Jack Burton just like say Big Trouble in Little India or something like that, or in like say just going down all these ethnic little places?
Big Trouble in the Big Apple.
Right.
Because everything goes down in New York. Like Independence Day, Cloverfield, Ghostbusters.
So we could have big Jack Burton versus aliens.
Could happen.
Just
saying. I mean, every one of them films did have something to do with either supernatural or aliens. But we could go down another route. But I do like the title Big Trouble in the Big Apple. That's really good. Get me onto Hollywood.
Patting Sam on her back.
This one's just Dude, Where's My Truck?
Dude, Where's My Truck? Or Dude, Who's in My Truck?
Donna will be after that one. She loves that film for some reason. Dude, Where's My Car? Like she has the worst taste in movies. Donna.
Who?
Donna. She likes Donna. Big Trouble. She likes Dude, Where's My Car and Orgasmo and shit like that.
I actually don't mind Dude, Where's My Car? For like, there's a few moments in it. But yeah. Does she like Freddy's Got Fingers?
I don't know, but no one should ever like that film.
I bet she does.
Okay, we're going to get Sammy and Donna on to review Freddy's Got Fingered. I'm not a part of this.
Please don't make me watch that film. Please don't make me watch it. It is fucking atrocious. I never found Tom Green funny on the telly. Why the fuck would I find him funny in movies?
He still got with Drew Barrymore though. Like
he married her.
Why? This gives us because enormous blokes a chance, Lee. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So Lee, what would you do for a sequel?
I wouldn't.
You
This movie was perfect.
Look at him.
I don't know. I literally can't think of anything for that to go. It ended perfectly. And I would, if there was anything else, I wouldn't put Kurt Russell in because he wasn't really the hero, unless he went off and did something else stupid. Wang was the hero of that whole thing.
That could be the joke, though. He could get himself in these type of situations or like positions where he just keeps like fucking up, but then there's always like a friend or a buddy or someone around that gets him out of the trouble.
Always, or one just gets him out of the situation without him actually knowing he's getting him out of the situation.
Is this, like I said, is this just a remake of the Green Hornet? With
yes,
just less racist, but yeah. Call back to basically Bruce Lee there. Sorry, but yeah, I could see them making a franchise out of this and doing different things. It doesn't have to be because it's just a shame we didn't get more of the Jack Burton character.
Yeah, I understand that aspect of not getting more out of the character, but it goes along the lines of why can't we just have that one-off standalone funny movie where we don't have to, there's no explanation for it. This is what happened, and he went on with his day, and we all went home and enjoyed our tea. But if we start building on franchises, it kind of it takes away that special quality that this movie had. I don't know.
No, that's a good point.
If it started going into other things like Big Trouble in Little India and things like that, going around with different monsters and him just being an idiot, it's just going to be clumsy Indiana Jones. Like, because this is pretty much an Indiana Jones, isn't it?
There was a
this
moment
could be an Indiana Jones film.
Yes,
it could, because there was a moment where I thought this was when he's standing in front where the funeral's happening, and he's standing in the two groups are next to each other, and they all turn, and I'm like, is this going to be like a standoff thing where they all start throwing some moves and he just shoots them? Like, is that where we're going with this?
Harrison Ford could have played like Jack Burton. That would have been a grumpy
No,
version.
he couldn't. No, he couldn't. We would not be able to understand him.
Don't be dissing India. Like I say, I know you've got a hatred to
I don't have a hatred. I don't have a big love for Indiana Jones, but it doesn't mean I don't love Harrison Ford. We do share a birthday,
Oh, but yes. So
we do.
Out of 5, because I do like my 5 ratings on these review ones. What would you give this out of 5? We'll start with Lee with him being the guest.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. What did it lose points on for you there?
Just like I said, just the continuity of going from scene to scene, like, and there was bits that just could have done with like a little bit more explanation. Like, I think this was like back in the 80s, everything was only like 90 minutes long. If it had another half an hour in, they could just explain a couple more bits and pieces, and that would stick it up to a 5.
So the fact that it wasn't, like, say, cohesive enough of a movie to get to the top tiers. So
yeah, like no one had any background story really. Like Lo Pan, the main villain, doesn't have much background apart from
he's called Dave. What do you want?
Yeah. Apart from the prophecy about marrying someone with green eyes, that's all we really know about him. And he's based on a real mythological Chinese character as well.
Oh, don't do that.
So there is a lot of work with.
We've just seen that Sammy's not wearing pants, guys.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, like I say, I know I'm just messing with you. I do love that. Like I say, that element. I do think it's a rough around the edges for me as well. As you said, it was probably a 4.5. Like, not like the things that get marked down gets double points for just the sheer look and the audacity of trying to make the film work. Because to be fair, when you talk about the premise and the idea, that film should not work at all. So yeah, so 4 point. I would say I'll give it an easy 4.5. Not quite Gurney level, but not far off. What were you, Sammy?
I'm gonna go 3.5.
3.5.
3.5. I thought aesthetically it looked amazing. Costumes, makeup was fantastic. Story was all over the place. I probably would have given it higher if I watched it when I was younger. I'm watching it through 40-year-old eyes now, and I think I would have appreciated it more as maybe a child or a early adult. Sorry, my cat is literally just pissed on this. Literally, his litter tray is here. He did it on the outside, just on the outside of it, so I've had to go and move him.
It's all right. Everyone's worried for Chris in the chat now because he's mentioned that you and Harrison Ford are the same age.
Fuck you, Chris. We all know how old I am. And yes. I don't look... If this is how I look at 75, fuck yeah, but I'm not.
No.
Goodwill's asking for Big Trouble in Little Pennywell. No, he wouldn't survive.
Big Trouble in Little Pennywell. Big Trouble in Shiny Row.
They would have his wheels off on bricks within seconds there. Yeah.
If you come to Shiny Row, you'd be dead.
Well, to be fair, we got lost, so... But yes.
And Paul got stung by a wasp.
Yeah, I had a fight with a wasp. That wasn't fun. It actually fucking hurt, the bastard. So yes, so Big Trouble in Little China. So one of those ones, probably nostalgia does hold up, and
yeah,
as you said, you watched it now for the first time. It has aged well, I believe. It's not one of the ones where you start cringing at certain aspects. Yeah,
no.
There's things that could be done better. There's things but it proves a lot that you don't need these special effects or CGI on a lot of things to make things work as much as probably like the old practical effects can do. Because nothing beats a big man in a rubber suit. It's always a lot better.
The 90s Turtles will always be the best Turtles because the rubber suits were amazing.
Yes.
The CGI doesn't live up to the old style.
It was Jim Henson who did the Turtles in them, I believe. Was it? Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure he had something to do with it. But and we also had a Goonie in one of the suits as well, so yes. Well, not in the suits. Corey Feldman. Donatello.
Oh, right.
Right. Are we
while
introducing...
they're being calm. Yes, while they're being calm. This is Loki.
That's a tiny cat.
He's very tiny. Well, you've not seen anything yet, because this is Binks.
Just see a black thing.
Yeah, he's a black cat. Hey, baby boy. Hello. He's a black cat with little stripes across him, and he's absolute tiny, but he's very curious. And he's had my life all day, and they've just come out after they've been to sleep.
Right.
Oh.
So yes.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I will be much more professional next week, and obviously for Monsters, it's
always, because you'll always be professional for Monsters. You can't be not.
But it's only because they've literally come. Yep, that's a wire. They've literally come home yesterday, and I couldn't leave them alone for. I didn't know how long I was going to be gone, so I thought I'll do it in here.
So
there we go.
But yes, so a nice way to end it. So Big Trouble in China, I would always recommend, if you haven't watched it, what the fuck are you doing with your life? Go and watch it. It's one of the classic movies from the 80s that will always basically age well rather than age poorly. Anything you guys want to add before we do start wrapping up there?
No, I thought it was a good watch. I'm glad I watched it today, because I don't think I would have. My memory is shocking, and I probably would have forgotten more than I would like to remember.
What about you, Lee?
No, I think it's wrapped up perfectly.
It's lovely. It's a lovely
little wrap up there.
Lovely little package.
Like I said, Lee went full Geordie on us there, but yeah. But yes. So next week, not next week, tomorrow, Monsters is live. Well, not live. The video is premiering from 7 p.m. It is already about a John Carpenter movie, Kurt Russell film. That's not Big Trouble in China. It is The Thing. Again, if you've not watched that movie, watch that before watching the podcast, because it is one of the scariest movies that you'll ever see. And it has been homaged on so many different platforms and so many different TV shows or other movies as well. So you probably have seen The Thing, but not even realised you've seen The Thing in other things as well.
Absolutely. And we do have a very special guest on, which is now being announced on the promotions, which is Michael from Geek Asylum.
Yes.
He is an absolute fucking fountain of knowledge when it comes to this movie. It was lovely to have him on. I have a lot of time for Mike. It was very fun. Me and Dan had so much fun with this one. And I hope it really pays off.
And Friday, I believe Goodwill is doing his trekking thing again, but I think he's from Alnwick Castle.
Wow.
This time. I think he'd be getting him and Graham and Sean Fennick will be there, so I don't know, because Goodwill can't say his full name now. We call him Sean because they're in the business together. But yes, so Goodwill will be live on Friday, and next week we will be back with a star-studded episode talking about one of the greatest comic books, and this is coming from a DC fan here. The X-Men, one of the more influential and groundbreaking concept that has ever been in comics.
It is one of the cleverest, and you cannot say X-Men without going.
But yes, and one of the sexiest cartoons that was very confusing at a very early age.
Yes.
But yes, Goodwill's just reminded us, not Friday, it's Saturday. Sorry, Goodwill. Sorry I got your timing wrong.
Sorry, Michael. That was your schedule wrong.
One of the sexiest cartoons. Ooh, Professor X.
Yes. Look at I'll tell you what, Rogue put some yeah. Are you streaming this week, Lee?
Possibly. See how work goes.
Yes, and we will be recording a special episode this week. Like I say, if we can fit it in, we will be reviewing the masterpiece of 90s sci-fi that is Demolition Man. And Simon says,
Wait.
but yes. So we've got a fulfilled thing, and thank you for the chat as well. Thank you for everyone who's watched and put up with our rambling. It has been a stressful few days, like I say, getting things moving, trying to make things look a bit more polished. Hope you do like the new looks that everything's getting. I'm not allowed to touch the monsters because Sam is very happy with the monsters.
I love the monsters layout. I think it's absolutely superb. Please don't change it.
But yes. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
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 Bye. Stay back.